Welcome back to this weekend's edition of This Week in Agribusiness. We talk about transportation issues from time to time because they are so important to help farmers not only get the inputs to their farm, but to get the final products to market. And the Port of Oakland, California has been in the news over the past few days. Dan Ronan from Transport Topics is joining us this weekend. Hey, Dan, they're really going to bring that port to life, and for a very important reason. We need to be able to ship beef out of there, right?
Well, indeed, Max. As you know, Asia is such a big export market for the agriculture community, especially when it comes to frozen protein. The Port of Oakland, realizing this, that beginning in March, they will be opening up a 22-acre site, off-site, right next to the port, specifically for agricultural exports. And this will be something that the port officials have been working on for a couple of months. There's a lot of reasons behind it that we can talk about as we have our conversation. But this is very exciting, especially for those in the agricultural transportation community.
The U.S. Department of Agriculture is a partner on this. They're helping make it possible. With actually some money coming into it, right?
Several $1 million, in fact. This project is going to cost about $5 to $7 million, depending on who you talk to. And the USDA is coming up with about 60% of the money. The port is coming up with the rest of it. But yes, the USDA clearly wants to see Oakland focus a lot of its exports on agriculture.
You know, to a lot of our grain farmers, other ports are more important. New Orleans, you know, that's an export port, a very significant one for us. And then, of course, SeaTac, Seattle, Tacoma. But when you look at these high-value exports, this is really going to put Oakland in the spotlight even more, it seems.
Well, it is. And Oakland, Max, has had a couple of challenges here the last couple of years because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Long Beach and Los Angeles have had 20 million plus containers over the last year. The numbers have seen a double-digit increase in those two Southern California facilities, while Oakland actually saw its export volume decline by 8% at a time when all of the other ports and those on the East Coast were surging. And it's all tied to shipping fees. It turns out that the shipping companies, the big shipping companies that we know so much about, they've been making very extraordinary profits, but they've been making a lot of money because they can take their product to Long Beach and Los Angeles, drop it off, and then head back immediately in the other direction across the Pacific, get another load of cargo, and come back. And usually there had been an intermediate stop in Oakland, and they stopped doing that because it just wasn't profitable.
There was a real concern also, was there not, about containers going back to Asia empty? That wasn't helping either, was it?
No, it wasn't, because empty containers they just don't generate any revenue. So that's been another problem. And also because of Oakland's location, and there's not just the Central California location, which is agricultural community and such a rich farm community in terms of nuts and berries and cabbage, all sorts of things like that. But the Port of Oakland has direct rail service to the Midwest, to Iowa, to Omaha. And that's really where we can expect to see a lot of this frozen protein, refrigerated protein, coming out of Iowa, coming out of Nebraska, coming out of Illinois, and it's going to be shipped by rail to Oakland and then put on freighters and then shipped across the ocean.
If I'm not mistaken, both the BNSF and the UP come right in there to the Port of Oakland, right nearby, correct?
They sure do. They do. They've got the direct lines into that facility, and that's what makes it so attractive. There's direct rail line. It takes a couple days to get the product there. They bring it in on the refrigerated cars, and with this terminal, with this offsite terminal, the goal is to really speed up the operations.
One thing that occurred to me this week, just to switch gears just a little bit, with that big storm system right over the heartland, snarling traffic, bogging down everything as it can do, that hasn't helped either in our logistics of this winter, right?
No, it hasn't. As a matter of fact, the governor of Missouri put out a warning several days in anticipation of this ice storm that Thursday and Friday that the Midwest is dealing with, telling truck drivers, don't even bother to travel. Just park your truck, get off the main interstates that run through Kansas City and St. Louis and I-55 through Southern Illinois and the like. Just get off the highway and park your vehicles, wait it out. Of course, if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, that's an area, having lived there, Max, that they don't do real well. You know, the LBJ, the 635 with ice, or 75 called the High Five. It's a U.S. Highway 75. It's like a roller type of rink, almost, in terms of if you get out there in ice and snow and the like. Nothing good's going to happen if you're going to be driving a commercial truck on a half-inch of ice.
I'm smiling just a little bit because early in the week I talked with a friend who's an independent trucker, and he's been in the business a long time. One of those good guys, really takes pride in the industry. He said I'm going to park it and stay home with Mama by the fire here for a few days.
Probably a good idea. And this storm is so big, you know, it stretches all the way from New Mexico all the way up into Ontario. It was a relatively narrow band in terms of its size, but it's really packing quite a punch.
And right over some key logistics, geography for the United States, too. Great to visit with you, Dan. We hope to have you on again sometime.
Will do, Max. This is fun.
Dan Ronan, Transport Topics, and he's on Sirius XM Channel 146 there, just right down from Rural Radio Channel 147. There's more coming up. Stay with us.